And hello, Buffaloes Nation. Welcome into episode 12 of the Pilot Mound Hockey Academy podcast, the Buffaloes podcast. I'm your host, Graham Forsyth. We're brought to you by Can Central Sports Cars and Memorabilia, Terrico, Goaltenders, Movement Fitness and Performance, as well as Elite Prospects, and all of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's wonderful sponsors and partners. Proud to be a part of their partners this year, and also proud of what we got in store for today's episode. If you missed Friday's announcement, we went live for a special expansion announcement. That'll be relayed here once again. Gordie Tumilson is going to be joining the show to start off to give his peace of mind on it, his opinion, and it was great to get his insight. And then we're also going to recap and show you once again Nicole's segment with us from this past Friday, last week, when the news ended up breaking on our network. And yeah, it's just going to be a replay of that. Gordie's going to be joining the show again coming up later to recap the past weekend of games for the teams in the academy. As man, what a weekend it was for one team in particular. We'll get into that and much more here coming up. But first, we got Gordie Tumilson joining us first to give his thoughts on the expansion news, which, by the way, if you didn't know, Pilot Mountain's going to be adding 2 new programs to their family throughout these next 2 seasons. As it should be very entertaining to see how it all unfolds. Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Gordie, we had some late but exciting news last week. We were thinking we were going to get it a bit earlier, but we got it on Friday from Nichole Collins breaking the news that 2 programs coming to Pilot Mound in the U15 and U17 programs throughout the next 2 seasons is going to be the timeline. Plans for the U17s would be to bring them in already next year, but busy times once again in Pilot Mound. Hey, Gordie, 6 programs to come in the final stages of things here in the next few years.
Yeah, it was a really neat breaking news story that we were aware of for a few days, but kind of had to hold our breath on. Great stuff for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. The owners had looked at this way back 11, 12 years ago and went, 6 teams would be the right number for them and for the academy for all sorts of reasons. Handling a number of kids, the staffing, the town size, everything else. Economics certainly fit into this. At some point, I think they want to break even. I know they haven't because they built the dorms that cost $1 gazillion. So anyway, there's lots of things going on behind the scenes, but a great deal for the town, for the community, for the municipality. As far as even Winkler and Morton, they get some great advantages from having this organization in Pilot Mound there and functioning. So yeah, a really great bit of news for the town and for the ownership. I know they're a proud group, and they finally got to where they were hoping to get to.
Yeah, and being able to add to an academy that seems to just see their programs improving year after year, it's great to see that they're only going to be adding to that, of course, with the dorms a few years ago, and then now they've been, of course, in the process now of adding 2 new programs here very soon. And Gordie, you mentioned, Winkler, Morton, and the surrounding areas. Dive more into that in terms of, does that make Pilot Mound more attractive to places around in rural Manitoba, in your opinion?
Well, if they're paying attention, it does. The guy across the street, I'm not sure he pays attention, but he's done thousands and thousands of dollars at his little convenience store, literally across the four-way stop from the dorms, and so I'm sure he's paying attention, as well as other stores and other operations in town. I know the co-op across the street benefits from and certainly lots of other stores and businesses in town benefit from the fact that Pilot Mound has dorms there and 80 players, going to be 120 players in 2 years. They get the families coming in all the time, various weekends, all through the season. So it's not a big tourist attraction or a tourist attraction like we would call it normally, but it is. We're bringing people in from literally from Europe, all over the United States and Canada, coming in, spending their money in town, at the restaurants, at the gas station, at the stores, and at the canteen right in the building. So, it cannot be a bad thing for a town that literally lost, four grain elevators, big grain elevators, paid a lot of taxes, did a lot of things, had a lot of people working in those places, 15, 20 years ago. Now we've got hockey kids there and they're coming back. It's sustainable. It returns. It's a great thing. Speaking of that, we flip that and we go to, wow, tax base improved. They've got 17, 18, 19, I think, new full-time employees working for them. Some from the Ukraine, got them out of there when the war started 3 years ago. Needed people. These folks came and they enjoy their life now in Pilot Mound. And they pay taxes and they work hard and they're good community people. The and as far as the other people that are hired are from all over Calgary, Philadelphia, all over Manitoba, now working and residing and spending 10 months of the year in Pilot Mound, spending their money there, paying taxes in town, going to the stores, et cetera, et cetera. So good on, and of course there's spillage on that to Winkler and Morton. I know for a fact that every every family that comes to Pilot Mound that requires bedding for their players' dorm room, goes to the Walmart or the Giant Tiger or somewhere in Morton and Winkler and buys their stuff there. It's thousands and thousands of dollars spent in Winkler and Morton at those kinds of stores. So there you go. Then I go and talk about, I'll tell you about, and this is something that the owners don't say enough of, but proof's in the pudding. The school and the arena in particular have benefited ginormously. The Prairie Rose School Division and the Pilot Mound Collegiate Institute have taken in, as of this year, I think more than $3 million
Wow.
in student transfer money. So, kids transferring in got to pay a fee. They don't belong in there normally, so now they pay a fee. That's amounted to $3 million. That's an incredible amount of money, all going back to the school division and in particular the school for resources, more teachers. Again, there's now more teachers coming in. So this is a domino effect deal. The arena, has earned probably in excess of $500,000 in extra ice time, unusable, not to be paid for ice time normally, because the academy goes in at odd hours. They go in the morning, they go right after school, where the community wouldn't be using the arena. An extra $500,000 that goes to pay the hydro bill.
Yeah.
Big time, it keeps the building open
Right.
longer and there's more community time and there's just all sorts of good things that happen because of this. So I know I'm not from Pilot Mound, but boy, do I see the net effect. And I'm sure the townspeople, some of them do. I know that. And if you looked at a list of our sponsors on the wall at our games on our sponsor boards, you'd see that a lot of folks do see the advantage. Some don't. They're going to catch on one day. We'll keep telling them about the good stuff and they'll figure it out. But in the meantime, the Academy has done nothing but good. And in replacing all those four large grain elevator facilities and whatnot is amazing. And so, congratulations to the Collins family and all the others associated with the Academy out in Pilot Mound in the area for doing a great thing for their community, growing Pilot Mound and not falling backwards as some small towns will do.
Yeah, and like you said, 12, 11 years ago, the hope for them was to build this up one day to six teams, and now they've done it. And that was actually a part of a segment that I didn't actually plan on cutting up at first, but came up with an idea to spread things around a bit here. You'll hear from Gordie coming up later in the show. As mentioned, we're going to jump right into the games from this past weekend in the Academy. Joining the show next, a segment that's already been ran here on our network this past Friday, but we're going to show you all again. Nichole Collins, general manager of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, came on last Friday to break the news that Pilot Mound's family is going to be adding 2 more teams very shortly here in the next few years. Well, the big announcement here on our YouTube channel on G Show Productions, as well as on our website at gshow.ca. It's the general manager of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy on here to break this news. Nichole, the talk has been apparently 2 new programs heading to Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. Let us in on the news.
For sure. So we've been pondering this as part of our long-term planning for quite a few years, and we have gone to Hockey Manitoba and Hockey Canada via appeal twice. So this is the 3rd year that we've requested or made this request to Hockey Manitoba. So the request is, in a nutshell, is we believe that a 6-team structure is appropriate for proper hockey development pathways. Looking at it, and this is more so on the male side of the program. So what many programs have is the ability for any student athlete to move through the program from U15 all the way to U18. And what we have been awarded, which is fantastic, is the addition of 2 new teams, a U15 AAA and a U17 AAA. So that will be added into our prep complement. And what it'll do is enable student athletes, for example, somebody who's U15 who hasn't hit puberty yet or grown enough or isn't quite ready to transition to U17 prep, having the ability for them to move to this U17 AAA team, AAA varsity, whatever anybody calls it, doesn't matter. And so they can continue their hockey development pathway, grow a little bit, still be part of our program. They don't have to leave school. They don't have to go home. And they can continue to develop and then continue to move through each of our teams. So what we've seen in the past is that some of those kids in that same scenario have had to go back to their home organization or to another team that has this type of offering, and then they've had to leave our program. So we don't want to see that anymore. We want to keep them here. We want to keep them in the same school and as part of the PMHA family. So we're pretty excited to have these new teams joining us so we can complete that pathway.
Yeah, and even though it's not prep teams, I think that's very exciting. Like you said, I think it brings an opportunity to keep more potential talent for those prep programs in-house. So I guess to get some logistics here, where are these AAA teams going to be competing? Is it going to be with different schools within high schools, for example, or is it going to be against other actual AAA teams from around the province?
So how it works, it's still part of, and we have to finalize, the application process with the CSSHL and all of that. It's those formalities, but the CSSHL has these divisions within their league. So it'll be part of that league. And again, that same hockey development pathway. So they're still part of the league. They're still progressing, developing all of the things. They're still having the exact same experience as the prep program. Yeah, pathway to graduation, all the things that we do in terms of on and off ice and citizenship development, etc. It's exact same experience. So
Yeah, and of course for the CSSHL, of course, as mentioned, they do have prep divisions and then they have these other divisions, whereas we just take a look at standings, for example, to see which academies have teams in this. Teams like Delta, for example, the Rink, Yale, BWC, NAX, OHA Edmonton. So when taking a look at all those programs and how they've been able to see success throughout the years, like you said, this is kind of a part of the long-term development plan at Pilot Mound. Based on research and looking at what these teams have done, do you feel like similar successes could very well be on the way to Pilot Mound if the strategy is used effectively?
absolutely, absolutely. I think we're in a good place in the league now. We've worked hard over the last couple of years to increase the quality and breadth and depth of our teams, as well as our seat at the league table. So I think we've done that and we're in a good spot. This will only continue to enhance that standing at the league level on all sides, and be contenders in those divisions. I see them just as different divisions, same student athletes, same experience, different division. And they'll be treated no differently than anybody else. And we're pumped to add 2 more teams. And to be able to, same thing, they'll travel to BC for showcases. BC will travel here, those kinds of things. So 50+ game season extra tournaments, all of the same experience that anybody else has. And my son actually said it best that the difference between U15 and U15 prep is puberty, oftentimes. And that's a really good way to look at it, is that they just haven't quite got there yet. They haven't quite grown enough yet. So they just need that extra year and that extra opportunity to get themselves into a place to be ready for prep. But sometimes they aren't, and that, they stay in that AAA varsity division, and that's cool too. So it gives families choice to be part of us and part of the league in the best fit for that student athlete. And I think that's pretty cool that we can add this extra opportunity and choice for families.
And like you mentioned, still the same type of travel opportunities. Does the, I guess, in-house stuff stay the same in terms of the amount of ice time they get, the same
Yeah,
training regimen? I assume it's all underneath one umbrella at the end of the day.
absolutely. Yeah, exact same experience. You bet. Yeah. So same many hours on the ice, same hours in the gym, same volunteer requirements, same school requirements. What we do have to do next is, and we already, as you know, we have the infrastructure with our dorms and the dining hall and the gym, and all of those things are already in place. So next steps is to break ground on another wing on our building to develop, so we have enough space to welcome more student athletes. So we're looking at that now, and hopes to be ready for next September. The other decision we're making is if we're going to ice both teams or just one for next season. So the plan at this point is definitely to ice the U17 team. And that's mostly based on accommodations and our ability to house what would be 5 teams with a maximum of 6 in the buildings that we have built. So one wing for now, another wing to come in the next couple of years to complete everything. So that's the plan.
Well, the beautiful dorms down in Pilot Mound, Manitoba, going to be getting some upgrades, some renovations here coming up soon. But as for, I guess, for parents that are looking to send their kids here that may end up in this program, like you said, a big part of it is just the puberty difference. But in terms of, I guess, exposure for the kids in these programs, what can parents and as well as the players be expecting if they're able to make these U17 and U15 programs outside of the prep, what that'll look like from that aspect?
For sure. So they're given the same opportunities and similar exposure as anyone would receive in the league. The scouts would look at them from the level and caliber that they're playing at. But there's still college scouts there. There's still junior opportunities, all of those things. Nothing changes in that capacity. And then, of course, the ability to move between teams and move up and all of those sorts of things. So it gives us more ability to have choice to move players through, and then gives families that choice. So, if a student athlete thinks they can't quite make prep, then they don't feel like the door is closed on them to be part of the league and to be part of their dream of hockey development and moving into that junior and college scenario. That door is still open to them at this level as well.
Well, right on, and great to hear that there's going to be plenty of opportunities moving for Pilot Mound, like you said, U17 program that's set to roll out next year. But what's going to be the, I guess, behind the scenes process in terms of getting these teams ready? I assume a lot of recruiting and marketing is going to be done here moving forward.
For sure, recruiting, marketing, getting coaching staff in place. We hope to have that done in the next couple of months, so that coach can work to do that recruiting. Of course, we've got student athletes on the U15 team that are ready to move up. So evaluating that retention capacity and offering spots on one or either of the U17 teams. So I think that'll help increase our retention, which is awesome, to keep kids in Pilot Mound as long as we can. And then, as you say, roll out the recruitment strategies when it's time after playoffs, those kinds of things, to start to build those teams. So the first steps are the building, getting that going and planned and in place so that we can break ground as soon as the snow's gone. And then putting that coaching staff in place, as well as building out the schedule of when our practice time is going to be and workout times, and making sure the school's aware that extra students are coming so that we can look at scheduling and class sizes and those kinds of things. So all of those discussions are already underway. Arena board as well, dressing rooms, those kinds of things. But this is fun for me. I love to build. So I see this as a fun challenge and not anxiety driven at all. It's pretty exciting to see 20 more student athletes be able to be part of our family.
Yeah, and it just adds to the legacy that's been being built down here in Pilot Mound, starting off with, well, one program back in 2015-16 that wasn't even in the CSSHL Prep League as of yet, and now today in 2025, heading into 2026, this program looking to add on one more for sure, and two more throughout the next few years here. Nichole Collins, General Manager of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, thank you so much for coming on here and breaking the news to our viewers. Very excited to see how things are going to roll out here, leading up to the U17's team release.
Excellent. Thanks so much as always, Graham.
Nichole Collins, General Manager of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, once again joining the show to break the news in a segment that aired on Friday last week. And yeah, first to come is going to be the U17s, and then next, in the next couple of years, the U15s. Going to be about getting those dorms expanded now. Those beautiful dorms down in Pilot Mound. Can't wait to see what they look like when they add more space. And I personally think the best part about this, aside from just adding more teams to the academy, you have a potential to potentially have more stability within your U15 prep and U17 prep programs if the development does come through for those kids in just the U15 and U17 programs. Maybe they're able to make the jump to prep. Maybe you find a diamond in the rough that develops really nicely. And even for the U18 teams, they can benefit from these players potentially from the U17 or U15 program in a few years, right? So, yeah, I think for an academy that has gotten better at recruiting significant talent throughout the past few years, when we talk about a player notably in Cole Landerville, stuff starts to freeze here. I don't know why. Oh, fantastic. We're gonna try to throw it to a promo screen to settle things down here for a moment. Ken Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Ken Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry upper deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. One sports cards and memorabilia. really laggy right now. It's like watching myself back in stream. Don't understand this. Here's what is gonna happen unless I unfreeze right away, or I stop lagging as I'm trying to. I think that's the better term to use. But yes, I'm still behind. Sorry, folks. This is like testing out technical difficulties right now, but let's see, maybe taking that away helps. Nope. Yeah, we're gonna have to restart, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on right now. Gotta love technology, hey. Stay tuned, Buffaloes fans. Part 2 of episode 12 coming up next.